So if you're not a fan of the words, peak fiction.
I am the Senate.
I don't remember asking you a goddamn thing.
It's treason, then.
All right, hi everybody. Welcome to the Star Wars from the peak fiction time.
Star
Merry
Wars The
Christmas.
Phantom Menace is the biggest disappointment since my son.
Star Wars: The Phantom Menace is honestly, it's not that bad.
So, what we watched the Star Wars prequels, and it was fun. We had a lot of fun with it.
We also did watch the 2003 miniseries by Genndy Tartakovsky, which was goated with the swow wow.
I absolutely loved it.
Pasta Man was a freaking contrarian, and he just says,
Okay, let's not get into that yet. Let's just establish So, this is Pasta Man's first time experiencing Star Wars media, because he has lived under a rock his entire life. He never watched
He's lived in
trilogy.
Tatooine for his entire life.
Everything I know about Star Wars has been through like pop culture osmosis.
And
Reddit
bread
memes.
And breadtuber video essays. So, I grew up with the prequels and the original trilogy. I would watch all 6 of them over and over again as a kid. And then when the sequels came out, I watched 2 of them, and then I liked it so little, or I disliked it so much, that I never bothered to watch another Star Wars movie in theaters. Oh, I did see Rogue One in theaters, too. That one I was okay with. But, like, the sequels were really, really bad. And I did not want to see them in theaters anymore. But we're not going to talk about the sequels today, or even the original trilogy, because we're just going to focus on the canonical beginning of the story, the prequels, which are obviously our prequels made by the guy who did the original trilogy,
Lucas George.
Lucas George, and Joyner Lucas. And
Okay.
So I just to preface, I think that the prequel, I was much more obsessed with the prequels as a kid than I was the any of the other Star Wars movies. But when I grew out of my Star Wars hyperfixation, I pretty much just left it in the dust. So the only Star Wars content that I had consumed since then was like video games, because the games are always really good. So this was actually a pleasant surprise to go back to and be like, oh, it's Star Wars prequels. But a lot of people really don't like them.
I can understand why.
I actually lied, so this wasn't my first Star Wars movie. My first Star Wars movie was the first sequel movie.
Why would you do that?
Well,
Why?
I think hold on. I think it's a testament to. I think it's a testament to how forgettable it was that he forgot that it was his first Star Wars.
I completely forgot what happens in the last.
I don't remember anything about the sequels. We may talk about those in a different video. But for now, we're just gonna focus on the original trilogy and the animated series, which was made alongside it, or?
Yes, it was made in 2003 to 2005.
Okay, by Genndy Tartakovsky. So I think we could. I guess since we watched the animated series first, do you want to talk about that, or do you want to talk about it in chronological order?
I think we should talk about it in chronological order. Phantom Menace first, Attack of the Clones, then we can talk about the 2003 show, then Revenge of the Sith.
Okay, so Phantom Menace, I like it, kind of. I don't. I really don't.
I am on the stance. Okay, I am on the stance that it is probably the most overhated movie ever. It's still, I wouldn't say that it's good. I wouldn't say it's bad either. It's like the most 5 out of 10-ish movie ever.
It's mid. It's mid.
I think that's kind of like my reaction is. I mean, it's not great, but I mean, I've heard about these movies talked about like they were like 9/11, you know?
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
well-
pretty much was.
That is partly the fault of Mr. Plinkett, but it's not just him. Everybody shat on these movies, and it was because they I gotta admit, the original trilogy, good as they are, I get why they're like influential and big and popular, and everybody likes them, but they are so fucking overrated. They are so overrated. In my eyes, like all 9 of the Star Wars. Well, okay, that's a bad take. Hold on. In my eyes, all 6 of the Star Wars movies are kind of in the same realm, and then the last 3 were just straight up garbage. So
Star Wars fans talking.
it was like 15 9/11s. We had a fun time with this one. Go ahead.
You probably know about all the in like recent years, though, the prequels have just kind of gained like a cult following. Like
Coke
you've
following.
seen, yeah, Coke following, yeah, Coke following. Let's just say that instead. So they gain a Coke following just because like they're pretty memeable. You've seen many memes from the prequels,
I think I've
especially the third movie.
I think I've seen more memes from the prequels than I ever have from the original trilogy.
And the sequel trilogy too.
Somehow it had more cultural impact.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, you know, early stages of the internet, people were obsessed with them.
Yeah,
Um,
actually, Revenge of the Sith came out when YouTube started, so think about that.
So that first one, the first one is about Anakin Skywalker, who, up until that point, Star Wars fans only knew as Darth Vader, and they're like, okay, so he was like a dumb little kid that looks like Matty B. Raps. And
He grew up on Tatooine as a slave.
He looks like that fucking video of the kids, like, wait a minute, who are you?
He does.
But
That banger reference.
so
Actually, I think we should talk about some of the characters in the Phantom Menace first before we get to Anakin. So
yeah, so go ahead.
So there's Qui-Gon Jinn, which all people know is just Liam Neeson as a Jedi.
Yeah,
And then there's obviously
Taken.
Ewan McGregor. Yeah, there's obviously Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan.
Ewan
and
McGregor, my boy from Trainspotting.
Yeah. Padme from who?
I don't know
From Chainsaw
if I.
Man.
she that same actress playing Makima would go hard.
Actually, I think we should talk about like what happened.
Oh,
in
that's
the movie.
that's Natalie Portman. So she's
Natalie Portman. Yeah.
She's been in Black Swan. I think she was also like a teenager that got basically groomed in Leon the Professional.
What?
That's I don't want to talk about that movie. That movie sucks. She was in a lot of stuff because she was also in V for Vendetta, which is the adaptation of an Alan Moore comic. Alan Moore being the guy who created Watchmen. So that's the last thing I was gonna say about her.
Okay, so I think we should talk about the plot before we talk about the characters. Actually.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's something about a trade federation, like trade tariffs or something going on Naboo, and then these very obvious kind of like stereotype guys are trying to take over Naboo. And you're kind of noticing something about the prequels that it's kind of political, which the original trilogy wasn't all that political. Children don't really care about politics. I still don't even know what the politics of the prequels are.
The original trilogy was about as political as just saying fascism bad. That's pretty much what it boiled down to. It was very black and white with its politics.
Now we actually got like trade tariffs, like actual Senate meetings.
Yeah, I kind of like political stories, not in the sense of like political messaging per se, but like stories that are about like kind of like political conflicts, like, you know, power struggles, things like that. I think those can be really interesting. And yes, I'm thinking of Attack on Titan season 4. I do have to say, I didn't find the power struggles in the prequels to be super interesting.
Yeah,
I mean,
you kind of don't know
fun
what they're on.
It's fun watching. What's the old super old looking guy?
Palpatine.
Palpatine. Palpatine's a cool dude. I like
Yeah,
Palpatine.
Yeah, Ian McDiarmid is probably the best thing in this entire trilogy.
Dude was pulling some shenanigans, and I respect that.
He was absolutely not trying at all, and yet he was able to outperform everybody in this entire trilogy.
He was having so much fun just playing this role. He was so good. So I guess for the first movie in particular, like, I don't feel all that invested. I mean, obviously, we already established we're not super into, like, the politics of this universe because I can't even really keep up with what side is what.
Yeah, I think also the problem is that it doesn't really have, like, it doesn't have a coherent plot. Like, nothing is really happening besides the invasion of Naboo. It feels, and I think I want to bring this up. You've noticed that there's a bunch of new worlds now in the prequels, which is a good thing. I think it really does expand the Star Wars universe in a way better way. But the problem is that the first 30 minutes of this movie just feels like George Lucas like messing with his CGI thing, going all like, "Ooh, look what I can make now."
Yeah, that's the whole thing, is like the
That reminds
spectacle.
me.
Go ahead, fine. Say your fucking thing, Pasta Man.
That just reminded me because there's one like battle scene from the first movie, and it looks like it's taking place on like the Windows, the classic Windows background.
What I was gonna say is
does.
like a lot of like it shows off the spectacle, but for the first 30 minutes, like not much happens. Like at one point, there's a fish that eats another fish, and then a bigger fish eats that one, and we get the line like there's always a bigger fish. But we weren't able to really keep up with what the fuck was going on because it's like these two Jedis on a ship. And these guys, like, close the door! So they cut the door open with their lightsabers. They're like, close the other door! And it's like a bigger door. And they cut that door open with their lightsabers. And then they're like, send out the droids! And it's like, it's funny and it's entertaining, but it's hard to kind of invest into the actual, like, what's going on or anything like that.
The problem is that I think, well, despite actually having good aspects, the prequels are kind of only watchable in a certain sense if you're just watching it with your buddies and kind of making fun of them.
Yeah, but they are entertaining nonetheless.
Oh yeah, no, definitely they are.
I think the overall, like, the ball doesn't get rolling for the plot in the prequels until they go to the desert planet. What is it called again?
Tatooine.
It doesn't get rolling until they go to Tatooine and meet Anakin Skywalker. And he is... That whole plot line I didn't care about. Especially since they introduced this character named Jar Jar Binks, and people
he gets
pick
more
on
screen
him.
time than Anakin.
People pick on him. And then there was a phase of people saying he wasn't that bad. But I am a dedicated hater. I fucking hate Jar Jar Binks. I absolutely despise him.
I still believe that he was the original Sith.
If Jar Jar has 10 haters, I am one of them.
If Jar Jar has a single hater, I am him.
If Jar Jar has no haters, I am no longer of this earth.
No!
I remember when we were watching
about
the
it, but I
movie.
didn't post it.
I remember we were watching the movie.
We're not doing this again. We're not doing this again.
I posted this picture, and all three of us collectively lost our minds. We just started laughing so fucking hard over this stupid ass picture.
It's not funny until you say it in your head.
It's not. I think what's especially worse about it is how detailed and good it looks. Well, it's not appealing to look at, but it's so well edited.
Julie, why are we doing a podcast on the movies when we could just talk about this?
I lost my mind with this image that I lost my voice.
Like I sounded like this the entire time.
Anyway, back to Jar Jar. Like, what I hate about him is just that it feels like, you know, we're gonna pick on, like, MCU characters for very bad comedic writing, but Jar Jar just feels like dangling keys in front of your face.
I think we
about
should
Jar
move
Jar.
on from Jar. I think we should move on from Jar Jar.
You know what?
All
That's
I'm gonna
better for
say
all
is,
of us.
all I'm gonna say is that he's just it's like dangling keys in front of your face, and none of his scenes are witty or entertaining at all. Like, I think they were trying to make a new version of, like, C-3PO, even though C-3PO does appear in this movie, but like a new version of that where it's like, haha, look at the funny child, like, character for all the kiddies to laugh at.
Thing is just like he was supposed to be like he's like supposed to be the guy that makes the children laugh, but I didn't laugh at him.
Like 7-year-old Salt in the theater, stone-faced, watching Jar Jar Binks.
Just with it's the fucking the
Like that
Homelander. I love the thought of that. Let's move on from Jar Jar because I don't want to talk about Jar Jar anymore.
Yeah. Who should we talk about though?
Well,
Let's talk
we could
about,
talk about the two main Jedis, and we could talk about Anakin.
Oh yeah.
So-
Qui-Gon Jinn and Obi-Wan, or Ewan McGregor and Liam Neeson.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, Postman didn't know who Liam Neeson was when we were watching this movie.
Two very good actors. I have liked them in other movies. It was so funny because for the longest time when I watched Trainspotting, it didn't click in my head that he was fucking in Star Wars. It did not, like, I didn't realize that. So I was watching this dude shoot up heroin and fucking almost like he has a panic attack in one scene because of a weird ghost baby thing. It was really fucking creepy. It's a great movie, and we're gonna watch that at some point. But yeah, I think the two Jedi characters in this movie are very endearing. They're like the best part, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think Ewan McGregor does a really good younger version of Obi-Wan. Obi-Wan in like his younger years. I don't even know if he was a teenager in The Phantom Menace. Doesn't even look like one.
He seemed pretty young.
Yeah,
he's
like a young adult.
Like, yeah, he's a Padawan, but I don't know if like he's a teenager or just like in his 20s. But
What's a Padawan like in real
That's
life
just
terms?
your-
like, you thinking like a grad student, like an
apprentice.
undergrad?
He's Qui-Gon Jinn's apprentice.
Okay.
Okay. But like I think Ewan McGregor does a really he sounds exactly like the original actor in the original trilogy. He's like kind of more I don't know what's the word. He's kind of more like joking, kind of I don't know if smarmy is the right word. What would you describe his personality?
He's got aura.
Yeah, well, he's just charming, is all I could really say.
Yeah, very more
Charismatic would be the
Charismatic.
yeah, charismatic, like a more
Because it's not really like he's like smug or smarmy. He's just really like.
Oh, and a bit of a
endearing.
jokester because he's like the negotiations was short.
Yeah, there is a lot of that. Like I do notice the dialogue between the Jedis is much more witty than any of the dialogue from like Jar Jar or any of the Anakin, like saying "That's so wizard, Annie."
Yeah, it's like the ability to speak does not make you intelligent.
It's funny how many lines in this movie feel like one-liners, but they're not really. It's just that they've become so iconic. Like it's not like they were going out of their way to try to make this a memeable moment. Just kind of happen naturally, and I respect that.
So, like, this movie has 3 acts, and we already established that for the first act, not much happens. It's basically the Jedi's going around figuring out what the fuck they're gonna do. Meeting Jar Jar, trying to get rid of him, but he won't go away. He's like a fucking, like, cyst on their side. But the second act is about Anakin's race. And that whole stretch. They basically go to Anakin's home planet, and they feel bad for him because they're like a slave family, and so they're like, I think I see this kid going places.
Yeah, and because they also, this is a very controversial element that I kind of really don't care about. Metachlorian counts, who cares? I don't really care all that much. I think what I, well, technically Qui-Gon does do this, but he just sees something in Anakin, like, oh, like, I think that this kid is going places. I think that would have been better than just like metachlorian count.
I think this kid's going places. Not college, but places.
Okay.
Although I don't think that's the most controversial thing that happens in this movie.
Oh
I think
yeah,
the more controversial one is Padme.
Yeah.
And that
do you
thing they
not
got
remember
going
the
on.
freaking blue guy?
Blue guy?
The slave owner?
Yeah, that was also out of
there's
pocket.
a lot going on here. There is so much to unpack.
So Padme is a woman who befriends the young Anakin Skywalker, and in the second and third movie, he gets all up in that. He has a kid with that woman, and that kid turns out to be Luke Skywalker, and that's really reassuring to know that Luke, one of the most iconic heroes in all of cinema, was born from what is essentially a pedophilic relationship.
Well, they didn't
and then
date until he was legal. So.
And then there was also the blue guy, the I think he's like the slave owner, and he's got a curved nose that's quite large, and he really likes money.
Yeah, you can kind of tell what that stereotype is.
And we're not gonna
Doesn't help that he's blue.
We're gonna leave it there. I'm not gonna
Yeah, we are
elaborate.
leaving it
gonna
there.
get mad at us.
So basically, they go to this desert
They're beating
planet,
our ass.
and yeah, he hangs out with
Tatooine.
Anakin, and I don't remember why they came to Tatooine. Like I think they were. Did they crash or?
There, like their ship didn't work.
I think it's
They
just
needed
because
more
they were running out of fuel or something. I don't know.
plot reasons.
They needed stuff, and then they meet
They needed
Anakin.
a part for the ship, and they were gonna get that part from
Another
the...
thing about like jingling keys in front of the viewer, but this one's kind of harmless. Anakin's working on C-3PO, the iconic character from Star Wars. He's building him, so that's cool. You know, you get to see kind of the creation.
Yeah, you
of-
get to
of
see
C-3PO.
like C-3PO is like just this kind of like bunch of like human guy with wires.
Yeah.
I mean,
And Anakin's building him. And then they watch Anakin go on a race, and the race segment was fine.
it goes on a
there's-
little longer than it needs to.
And
Then it
there's
does.
parts.
I think it was
there's-
cool though.
It was cool, but it still just feels like George Lucas showing off what he can do. Still, like that's kind of how I can describe this movie a lot.
I mean, in fairness, that's also kind of cool. I think it's like a decent change of pace from like the sword fights and the the kind of one-on-one action, and then like going to like racing. Racing's cool.
Yeah.
I like racing.
Racism. There were a lot of parts like leading up to the race that were kind of dumb. Not to bitch about Jar Jar again, but the fucking fart joke, which always I can't ever look at it the same now because it reminds me of this fucking meme.
This.
But
Really
they set up
added
they set up this villain for the race, and he speaks like another language, and he's just like the way he treats Anakin is like really fucked up. It's like this small child. He's like, I'm going to fucking decimate you in this race. I will
like a
kill
freaking-
you.
It's like a grown man in a COD lobby yelling at some like 10-year-old because he's like
And he's
trash
just-
talking because he
he's
calls
just
him a
literally
pee
like-
poo poo head.
Where he's just literally like, we gonna kill you, dog. We gonna get you gone, bro. I'm talking about.
I guess we should talk about the third act now.
Hold on. Just last little thing I'll say about the whole race thing. So during the race, he does almost kill Anakin. Because before the race starts, I think he pulls something out of his vehicle. He yanks something out, and then so it fucks up, and Anakin almost crashes during the race. Which, by the way, this is like a really like fucking insane race. You got like Tusken Raiders shooting at them from like the sidelines, and they're letting a kid enter in this race, even though pretty much Anakin and I think that guy are the only ones who live by the end of the race. Like everybody else dies.
Only in
Blow up.
Tatooine, am I right, guys?
So yeah, I think it was entertaining, but I don't know. I felt like it overstayed its welcome, and then that leads to the third arc, which is the war, or it's a war. There's wars going on all the time.
They go to Coruscant first, and then you see
after hold on. After purchasing Anakin, they take Anakin with them.
They didn't purchase him; they just took him out of slavery.
Oh yeah, it was because of the race. They like bet, I think, for his freedom.
Yeah.
Right.
The only thing that they got out of the only thing that they kind of bought or was that like magnet was just like this power supply.
I'd like to purchase this. Let's go ahead. Sorry.
Okay, in the last, I think it's like 40 minutes of this movie, you go to Coruscant. Just this, it's probably like the best thing from the prequel. It's just an entire planet that is a city, and you meet the best character ever, Palpatine. You see him
while
like,
he
in his
still looks
50s.
Normal.
Yeah, like he doesn't look like a freaking ball sack. So, what do you guys think of Palpatine? In like his prime?
We already established he's like
Palpatine's the realest character.
He's so funny.
Yeah.
Even in the animated series, he's so chill while he's causing all of this chaos.
Yeah, it's just but yeah,
dude was having the time of his life.
Yeah, and then a bunch of Senate crap doesn't happen. I mean, a bunch of Senate crap that you don't really care about goes on. And then just Padme goes and just decides, you know what? No, I'm gonna go back to my home planet. I'm the queen. I'm taking over.
And so, are we leading up to the finale?
Yeah,
of the
the
first
final
movie?
battle. Yeah.
I fucking love the finale of the first movie, even though I don't care about anything that's going on. Partly because the music to this shit is like, it is amazing. It is so good. But also
you've all heard of it, Duel of Fates.
Yes, but also because Darth Maul, when I was a little kid, that was like the coolest fucking thing I had ever seen. Because he has like an interesting twist. They set up this villain, Darth Maul, who basically just exists to fight our two Jedi heroes. Oh, there you are. Thank you.
My gifts are not on.
But
he didn't have a lot going on, but he was cool.
Yeah,
his character design is great, but like he's not really that interesting.
He's like a villain.
character.
He's a villain of the week. He's basically just a villain of the week. But yeah, like he pulls out the lightsaber, and you think, okay, and then it shoots out on the other end. And you're like, oh shit, okay, I didn't know lightsabers could do that, because that was like a new thing at the time. And so it's just this big climactic battle between him and our boys Liam Neeson and my boy from
Obi-Wan.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
Ewan McGregor.
Ewan McGregor.
Okay, actually, people are gonna get onto us about this. They're saying like, "Oh, Darth Maul's developed in the Clone Wars show." Okay, well,
We're
the
not
thing.
talking about
I
the Clone
think
Wars show this episode.
No, I'm not. I know, but before these people get mad at me, we didn't. Okay, the prequels should be able to stand on their own. They shouldn't have to rely on a show that's 6 seasons long. Okay.
Yeah, and I will talk about that show, because from what I hear, it is actually really fucking good. So I'll have to check that out, because I am a little invested in Star Wars now just because of the fucking movies.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. Like, Darth Maul, just as a concept, as like a villain of the week, he's really fucking cool. And this fight was fantastic. I absolutely loved watching. It was like a 2v1, but he's got 2 lightsabers technically, so he's like very good choreography.
With Padme was actually kind of cool as well. She just takes over like these I'm gonna be real with you. They kind of remind me of another stereotype.
Oh no.
What?
Okay, I'll have to. Bing Chilling. That's your only.
Oh yeah, okay. Well,
Thank
yeah,
you.
Padme
That's
and
very
her
cool.
Padme and her crew of soldiers, they're like going on a Mission Impossible James Bond mission to like. They even got like the guns that work as hook shots, and they go up the window, and it's a very elaborate procedure. Well, while that's going on, there's also Jar Jar is with all of his people, and they're like fighting against the droids. And you get to see Jar Jar
in the Windows movie background battlefield.
Yeah. And Jar Jar is just accidentally killing all of them, which is what led to the kind of amusing theory that he's actually like a Sith Lord, because everything is like, there's no fucking way this is by accident. Because he's like flopping around, there's like a gun accidentally stuck to his leg, he's like flopping around and accidentally shooting people. And it's all very precise. So it's kind of amusing. And then
It's kind of a fun idea to think about.
and then the last one is just Anakin hijacks a jet, and then
yeah, basically the Star Wars version of a jet, and then he blows up like one of the space stations in there, and it turns off all the droids on Naboo.
He literally He literally Death Starred that space station as like a 10-year-old child. What a
so
movie!
It's
He
even
was committing
funnier.
war.
It's even funnier when you consider
war.
what he becomes in the later movies. When you consider
He was
becomes the
committing
Joker.
war crimes at the age of 10.
And my favorite part about it too is he's like, "Now that was pod racing." And it's like, that was not pod racing. You just killed like hundreds of people.
Well, to be fair, they were mostly droids.
So yeah,
Your
a
Honor.
pretty explosive finale. There's a lot of moving parts, but the only significant part, at least in my eyes, was the Darth Maul fight, which concludes with the two of that. Like, Darth Maul kills one of them. He kills our boy Liam Neeson.
He kills Qui-Gon Jinn.
Yeah.
We didn't actually talk about Qui-Gon Jinn, did we?
I mean, we talked a little bit about him, how he's basically
He
Jesus.
was a Riz Lord.
He's charismatic. He's
Yeah, he's
interesting.
like, yeah, he's basically like, but he's also like pretty wise. Like he's got, like, and he just, I wish we kind of saw Liam Neeson more, honestly.
Yeah, that's the thing, is like, I think they spent too much time on things I didn't care about for this movie than the parts that I really did. Like, I wanted to see more Darth Maul, I wanted to see more Liam Neeson, I wanted to, that sort of stuff. I did not want to see that much Jar Jar.
I think that's kind of the problem with this movie. It's a little bit more spectacle than character development.
Yeah. But anyway, Liam Neeson dies, and then our boy Ewan McGregor, he's very distraught, but he ends up killing Darth Maul, or not, I mean, killing in quotation marks. I'm pretty sure there's like a comic where Darth Maul like survives or whatever,
Yeah,
but
and
he
he's
like cuts
also-
him in half and drops him down a hole.
Yeah, which is actually pretty brutal for a kids movie.
Yeah. And very
You can
fun
see the way
movie.
Anakin goes.
Very fun movie. It's not something. It's definitely not the best Star Wars movie. I don't even consider it close. But it is a very fun movie, and it's a good foundation for what's to come. However, it is the worst of the three, in my opinion. Because
Yeah,
the
it does
following two, I
feel-
think, are very, very
Yeah,
solid.
the problem is that it's mostly spectacle because George Lucas just got this like new little tool that he didn't have in 1977, and also it's the humor, like the unintentional humor hits, but like the actual humor just doesn't, and the problem is that a lot of the characters are just not developed more, but like they were pretty good. Like, I don't know, like there was something there to like, but we just didn't get enough of it. Like Liam Neeson as a Jedi.
Yeah. So that takes us to the second movie, which for a while I thought was my favorite, but now I think the third one's my favorite. But the second movie was solid. And it's somehow, I don't know how, but like the visuals look even better than they did in the first one.
Yeah,
it's
like
the quality.
Phantom Menace is kind of dated.
Yeah, and this one, I mean, they're all dated, but this one, like, I think they progressively look better among the three of them. Like, it's a progression in visual spectacle. The second one is very entertaining too, because it's very Anakin focused, but he's grown up now, and Ewan McGregor basically becomes Liam Neeson too. He even grows out his hair.
No, I'm Jesus.
Yeah, he basically takes on the role of Jesus since Liam Neeson's dead, and he gains his wisdom, but it's different this time because Anakin will not listen to him.
Yeah, he's just a bit of a grumpy boy. But like,
he's
I think
emo.
that's one of my problems with this movie specifically. Like, Obi-Wan doesn't really do, like, we don't see much of it, like why Anakin fully resents him. Well, not like partially resents his master. Like in this movie, like I don't know, it just felt forced.
It's basically Anakin's like really immature, and he's upset that he's not getting the recognition of like I want to be with you guys. I want to be a part of the cool guys group, and they're like, you will in time, but you're not ready. You are still too naive and too immature,
and a little and too emotional.
I'm gonna need a Pasta Man to step up for this one, because the whole point is that we showed this to Pasta Man, and he's being silly and not talking.
That's true. He's a little freak, if we're being honest.
So
yeah, he's a little bit creepy in this movie. Anakin's a little. They're like
you can't even call like Padme a groomer. Sometimes he did all that himself, dude. He was a freak on his own.
Yeah, the
He's
romance
so
is
forward. It's like so creepy, dude.
The romance in this movie gets made fun of a lot.
It's not good. It's not good.
It's very bad. He's like, I hate
And
sand. It's irritating and it gets everywhere. Not like
And
you.
then like Anakin admits that he killed like an entire village at one point, and Padme is just like, and like, it's okay, sweetie, I still love you. Like, what the fuck?
Like, what's your favorite porn category? And he's like,
Yeah,
every single one of them, and not just the men.
I get what they were going for with Anakin. I think this is something like I learned like from a video essay, but like the Force and like the good guys use the Jedi has a lot of kind of like roots in Buddhist philosophy, where the idea is like controlling your desires and your emotions, and like we continuously see that that's something that Anakin is not very good at.
Yeah,
And that's
also,
kind of the roots of his downfall.
Yeah, I also think it's just because of like his background. Like, he's a little. I think the awkwardness is like a little justified sometimes, because like he basically grew up on like the worst planet that you could live on. Honestly,
Bro was a slave.
Yeah, like he doesn't really get that much social interaction.
Society created Darth Vader.
Well, Tatooine created Sand created Darth Vader.
And it's honestly, I feel like watching these makes the original trilogy even funnier when you see like just how far gone he is. Is Darth Vader.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's funny that y'all were saying like that he's creepy, because there's a lot of aspects about this movie that are creepy. There's a lot of like things when I was a little kid that like spooked me a little bit. Like the fucking centipede thing that they sneak into. This, like, someone tries to assassinate Padme by sneaking, like, a weird centipede creature into her bedroom, and they have to kill it.
Yeah, centipedes are really weird.
And then there's, like, once they catch the person who did it, I think they kill themselves. I think they, like, bite, like, a cyanide capsule.
Well, no, yeah. Oh, wait, we should probably...
they got killed.
Yeah, but yeah, what happened? Yeah, we get to see Boba Fett's dad, Jango Fett, which is just Boba Fett but blue.
Yeah.
And he's pretty funny in this movie, though. He's pretty funny.
He kills. Well, I was gonna say is he kills them, and then they like morph back into whatever they were, and it's like it's so fucking weird.
I don't really see why that was a thing at all.
Yeah. But I mean, the world building of this one's there's a lot more going on. There's a lot more sets,
Yeah,
a lot more places.
Yeah, there's just this entire planet that's just water, and like there's these cities like that. There's like these just cities that they had to build on top of the water.
Yeah,
And then we see like another canyon planet or something. We get to see more of Coruscant, which is great. Like there's a diner in Coruscant.
Oh yeah, and then
That's
the
funny,
diner,
like an actual diner.
the diner owner, he's like a big fat like gray creature with 4 arms, and his butt crack keeps coming out of his pants, and he keeps having to pull his pants up.
We should probably tell like the plot points of these two movies. Okay, so after that incident with Padme almost getting assassinated, Anakin has to take care of her while she's on Naboo, while Obi-Wan is trying to find out where this Jango Fett guy came from, even though you don't know he's Jango Fett yet. But then he kind of discovers that, oh, wait a minute, Master Sidious or whatever his name was, Count Dooku. We'll just call him Count Dooku since I can't remember what his Jedi name was. He figures out that on this water planet that they've been building the stormtroopers, or technically the clone troopers, in this movie. They are, and they actually explained why stormtroopers can't shoot well, because you see here the clone troopers age faster than we do. They age twice as fast. So in 10 years, you can have a fully like a 20-year-old as a Marine or a stormtrooper.
That's pretty crazy.
So half of them are like geriatric. That's cool.
Yeah. Like, you didn't need to do that.
What a meme.
Yeah, and
Thank
also
you, Gabe, for this contribution.
and all the clones are based off the guy Jango Fett.
Yeah.
I mean, both. Yeah, no, I said Jango Fett. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it turns out he's the bounty hunter that tried killing Padme, or like tried assisting to kill her.
Yeah.
Okay, you guys go ahead. I talk too much.
What led to the because I know that, I mean, the highlight of this movie for me was the part where Anakin and Padme are captured and they have to do like a game where they're fighting against aliens, like weird alien monsters. It's like an arena, like a gladiator type thing. What?
Yeah, and then they just got captured when they tried when Obi-Wan got captured by Count Dooku.
They got captured trying to save him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the droid factory.
And so they got to fight for their life against these weird ass creatures in this big arena. And it's fun. It's like a really fun segment.
Yeah, and then once the Jedi all come in to save them, but then they get surrounded. But then another Deus Ex Machina happens, and the clone troopers come in, and they're on the side of the Republic.
And Samuel Jackson's in this movie.
Yeah. Speaking of that, Samuel L. Jackson actually did ask for a purple lightsaber. Like, hey. He's like, oh, what color lightsaber do you want? George Lucas asked him, oh, what color lightsaber do you want? He said, purple. I want purple.
He's like, well, I don't think purple. He's like, I don't remember asking you a goddamn thing.
I was literally about to post that GIF.
Yeah, I'm only bringing him up because he was in that whole, like, basically the arena thing falls apart, and then I think he fights against Jango Fett, and then doesn't Jango Fett die?
Yeah, I think, I can't remember who decapitates him. Yeah, Jango Fett gets freaking decapitated in this movie.
In front of his son. His son watches his father get his head cut off. It's kind of crazy.
Oh, yeah. I guess we should talk about some of the stuff with Anakin on Naboo.
Yeah, I mean, I
Okay,
don't know.
so-
This podcast is kind of all over the place, but we'll structure it. We'll in post.
Yeah, we'll structure it in post. So Anakin is protecting Padme on Naboo, and he's gotten a little horny.
Oh, he's
He's
a
getting a
fiend
little
of
freaky deep.
brother is starving. In all
Like,
fairness,
it
it is Natalie Portman. You know, let's be real here.
It doesn't help that like Padme also wears like some kind of BDSM thing.
I also think it's really
and like
funny.
a shot.
I also think it's really funny that like Natalie Portman in Leon the Professional was being groomed, and then she graduates into the groomer in Star Wars.
Yeah, and then
Bruh.
Anakin like is getting dreams about his mother being tortured by the Tusken Raiders, and like his job is to protect Padme. He's but like, oh fuck you, I need to go see my mommy, and then he goes
I mean,
back
in
to
fairness,
Tatooine, and
they
it
were
turns
doing
out
that
his
to
slave
her.
owner is poor now.
Yeah,
Like his
and,
previous slave owner is poor now.
he's
And
bankrupt.
sold him.
Bro,
And yeah, and he goes and finds his mom because like his slave owner like basically sold her to Tusken Raiders, and like she just dies like when he gets there, and after she tells him that he loves him, and then he goes gamer. You see the first gamer moment that Anakin has. He slaughters an entire village.
he was
And,
like, I have got to kill these kids.
And then he just announces it to Padme, and just willy nilly.
Yeah, and he's just like, and man, that is a weird impulse. I have this sudden urge to kill the children too.
he's just
That's
to
a-
leave no survivors.
Why is it that all of our goats have killed kids?
Hey, speak for yourself.
Don't worry about it.
Who's your goat, Salt?
Okay, well, I don't really know if I have a goat that has killed children. I don't know.
Wow, I guess you're just not cool. Man.
The Anakin in question.
I mean,
Okay.
they're both very awkward.
So I don't remember much else to say. I mean, I think like the second one had a lot of really good action scenes. It doesn't is this the one where General Grievous shows up?
There is some more. No, that's the third movie.
Okay, then
And-
we'll put a
No.
pin in that. We'll wait. Cut that
And
out.
then we're going to talk about the two. Yeah, there's not a lot to go on with this movie. There is more character development, but it is kind of like boring in some segments.
Yeah, it was a little hard to pay
And
attention.
it's also
Yeah.
it's also
does-
kind of creepy.
Yeah, that's like the whole like Anakin's whole deal. It's hard. He's kind of the trope that I feel like I generally like, but it's hard to like Anakin personally because he's such a freak sometimes.
He's over here
Yeah,
stroking his dick.
Like I can understand that he grew up on like this like bad planet, but he's still pretty creepy.
So are we
Yeah.
done with
I guess
the
we-
second
And then
movie?
I think it does kind of get at that thing.
I think
was
we're done with the
talking
second
about
movie. We
earlier.
don't really got much to talk about the second movie.
Okay, it does kind of remind me of like what I was talking about earlier, how like the ideals of the Jedi are like someone who doesn't have like personal attachments, and like Anakin can't really let go of that, and that's what kind of leads to his downfall.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then after the second prequel, the next thing that is canon, but that we watched before we watched the prequels, so Postman may not remember much, was the Genndy Tarkovsky animated series, and I love Genndy. He is like one of the few people who made like Western animation worth it. Like he made this little show you might not have heard of, probably haven't, kind of niche, called Samurai
Dexter's
Jack.
Laboratory.
That one too, yeah, but also Samurai Jack. I think he contributed to Powerpuff Girls, Symbionic Titan. Like these days he's doing like Primal, which is absolutely phenomenal. I highly recommend Primal. It's like he's finally given the freedom to make a gory action show, and that is what Primal is.
Yeah,
and it's so fucking brutal.
That's some of the things about the 2003 show. It is brutal, but you see here, most of the fighting is against robots or giant monsters that nobody cares about. So you can just get away with anything.
So I don't know what Pasta Man remembers about the 03 Clone Wars series, but
The IDK.
a lot of fighting.
You're gay.
A lot of fighting.
Yeah,
a lot of.
It's kind of like a series of like kind of disconnected like action scenes with like pretty minimal setup, or like there's just not a lot of plot. That was like my thought like when I watched it.
And you're gay for it.
Yeah,
I mean, like I don't really think it needed that much plot, honestly, because it was just Gandhi cooking. Like, whoa, hey, what can I make that? I bet George Lucas just basically said, hey, so what do the Clone Wars look like in your vision? Like, oh, I am about to cook.
Yeah, because Gandhi likes writing action shows. He's very, very good at it. And so to be able to like use the Star Wars universe, he just kind of toyed around with whatever he could find in that universe and he had so many creative ideas. And it is a very, very fun series to watch.
I will concede one moment that's absolutely like legendary in this series for me is General Grievous in his fights. He had the sauce.
Yep, I'm talking about him. I'm talking about him. No, I'm talking about him. We're gonna get to him later.
Okay.
Okay,
then...
so. Okay, so Gandhi basically just makes a bunch of action scenes with like the Star Wars setting, and you get to see Mace Windu cook. You get to see Obi-Wan cook. Like they're on this like banker planet, and like they're trying to take it back over, and you just see like this gigantic army of like droids and stormtroopers, and you get to see them all and you get to see Gandhi cook, and it's so good.
The animation's really solid. I think like what I found interesting, or what stuck out to me, is like there's a lot of villains that I didn't see in the movies and that I hadn't seen in any other pieces of media.
They're more like Clone Wars. They're more Clone Wars exclusives, like that one like, pale bitch.
The funniest thing is that like a lot of characters are voiced by Azula from Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Padme is too, and they cook with Padme too.
Yeah, but there's not much to say about it really. It's hype. That's really all it is. The action scenes are so well thought out. Characters come up with shit just on the spot, and it is a lot of violence. There's a lot of explosions. There's a lot of crazy shit that happens.
Yeah, and basically like. I think the personalities of everybody is also genuinely improved. Like, Obi-Wan is, like, a little bit more charming in these than the prequels. Yeah. Actually, no, I don't. He's pretty on par with his prequel counterpart, but Anakin was definitely fixed a lot. You actually do get to see some of, like, why he's resenting Obi-Wan a bit, and, He actually has a bit of a personality. Like, he's a pretty, like, sarcastic. He's pretty sarcastic. And,
plus of, like, super edgy teen.
Yeah. And it's a pretty great personality that I wish we saw more of in, like, the first two movies. And he's also, like one time, like, they're, like, doing a siege that's gonna take months and months and months to take. But, like, Anakin's all like, oh, I found a map. Pretty nonchalantly. Well, I found a map to get into the city to get rid of the shields. And like, also, they did cook with Padme. She actually did have a personality in this, and she's also a pretty good fighter. Yoda, get out of my. What is wrong with you?
This wasn't even related to the conversation.
I just had to post it.
And you get to
Okay,
see,
but-
and you get to see all the Jedi cook. Just Yoda, Mace Windu, basically Samuel L. Jackson as a Jedi, and he just takes on an entire army of droids by himself. And like,
Okay, that was
and once
pretty
he
raw.
loses his lightsaber, he actually like just beats them all up with his fist, and it's so good.
Yeah, it's
Also,
definitely
while
something
we're
I'd watch.
talking about characters that are
Yeah,
while we're talking about great characters in this series, Palpatine again, he's so funny, dude. Like he's getting kidnapped and he's so chill about it.
yeah. No, later, we'll talk about that later. We'll talk about the Battle of Coruscant
Oh.
later. Okay. So and then it's also you actually get to see the Separatists being villains. You don't really see them like, oh, what's so bad about them in the Clone Wars? Because in this show you actually get to see what they're doing and why. And like why they're
Yeah.
so evil.
Yeah,
even though it's Palpatine.
It does kind of elaborate better on things that the prequel movies.
The world
sort of
just feels more
missed.
alive in this. Or the galaxy at least. But
You also get to see Anakin eat bugs.
he lives in the pod.
Oh, yeah,
yeah,
that was
he
the
eats
thing
the
that
pod,
happened.
live in the bug. Oh yeah, and you get to see Count Dooku. He's like, this is unrelated, but like you just see like this guy just saying a bunch of gibberish to him, and he's like, indeed.
Indeed, yes.
That was so funny. And then there's like this one pale girl that's a Sith Lord apparently. She's not.
And she was also voiced.
He was
by
also
Azula,
voiced by
right?
fucking Azula.
Yeah. And she's
Oh,
basically
that's cool.
Azula. Like she's evil
And
too, so
she-
she's basically just Azula.
But she's double sabered. She has two sabers and they did cook with her, but I don't know. Like I've seen her more in the from what I remember, they cooked with her more in the Clone Wars than like the 2008 show more than this.
yeah.
Yeah, but I don't think that there's much to talk about besides I guess we got to talk about my boy. We got to talk about my goat.
Yeah, General Grievous and Palpatine are the two
Yeah,
we gotta
I get to talk about Grievous. So Anakin is lecturing. I mean, Obi-Wan is lecturing Anakin again because like he just disobeyed his orders. But then you get But then Obi-Wan gets a call from like this one Jedi, and he's like, "We're under attack by this one guy." But like the scene is so good because it keeps cutting out to him. But like you don't know who it is that's taking him out, and then you see like but then you see like the Obi-Wan's call. I'm going into this scene all I want. Okay, it is such a good scene. Okay,
Yeah. You're
and
good.
because General Grievous is why I showed this to these two, and like, but then once we get to the planet the Jedi was on, like we see Obi-Wan's intercom come in. He's like, "Master Barrack, come in," and then you see General Grievous stomp on the phone, and then you just see a bunch of droids like attack like a damaged Star Destroyer, you see these. But then, like, General Grievous tells him to stop. He's gonna go in alone. And then you see, like, these Jedi. They're so torn up. They're so beaten up. Like, Jesus Christ, what happened to these guys to get this way? And then, do you guys want to talk about the scene now?
Yeah, it's just and then General
General
Grievous.
Grievous. That's why he's the MVP.
Oh my God. I guess I gotta talk
General
about it
Grievous
now.
just does this.
Yeah, I think it's definitely the highlights
shoot.
of. You can
Oh, wait,
really see the strengths of the animators at play with Grievous because they went all out with the action scenes with Grievous and animating him. They
Yeah.
look so sick.
Yeah, so the tension builds up in this scene. You just hear him walking, like they're telling him, "Don't attack, don't go out there to attack him." And then you see, like this one Jedi just runs out. Then he gets stomped, he gets eviscerated, and then you see Grievous, and then he's standing on top of the walls, and he is just like it's 4 Jedi against him, and he is not like flinching at all. You see him like use both of his hands, and then see him use his legs to fight as well. And then you just see him like grab this guy with his foot, and then just freaking like curb stomp him, and then he throws another one away with his legs too.
It's very, very like
dude.
it's very dynamic and creative, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's a lot of creative. Like, there's.
I'm sorry, that scene is so good. That scene is just so good. I had to talk about it.
Yeah, I mean, he's just like 1v4ing and he's cooking them. And
He's not
goated.
saying anything too.
Yeah, he's a man of few words.
Yeah, he wasn't really that cool in the movies, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, in the movies he was just kind of mid. Like,
In the
Ugh.
2008 show, he's also mid.
that's kind
But
of
here,
disappointing to
he
hear.
has the sauce.
But here,
So
he peaked.
yeah, okay, so I guess we gotta. Okay, I guess, but then after, but like even with one encounter with the Jedi, like there are 3 Jedi dead and only 2 alive, and I think 1 alive and 2 critically injured with him. Like he only ran away because the stormtroopers got in his way.
Yeah.
But then actually you see, I think this is another good thing that the movies don't do. Like you see the Separatists actually like sieging planets in the show, like not compared to the movies at all. But I guess we can talk about the Battle of Coruscant now. You guys want to talk about that since I've been like consuming?
I'm consuming.
I'm gonna consume.
I mean, it's, you know, it's your episode. You can decide what we talk about. I am honestly like, I don't have
It's
a
my
lot to
hype.
contribute, but
Okay.
with the
Yeah.
animated series, like, all I can really say is just watch it. Like, it's I highly recommend it to people if you just like Gendy, because it's just him having fun with the Star Wars universe.
Oh yeah. Okay, I guess I'll talk about the Battle of Coruscant. So after like you guys won't know this, but they took like the Separatists took the Outer Rim worlds, which is like this geographical place in the galaxy. So then they strike Coruscant to get Palpatine, which I don't even know if the Separatists know that Palpatine is Darth Sidious. Where'd you find that?
I searched Coruscant in GIFs.
Yeah, so the Battle of Coruscant, you see all these Star Destroyers everywhere attacking like Separatist ships, and then General Grievous's job is to get Palpatine, while like the droids are distracting the Jedi, and you just see him chasing after them. He, like,
Oh yeah, I remember that.
yeah, like
He's, moving
once
so
these
fast.
stormtroopers come into this room, he just kills them all with ease.
He cooks them.
Yeah, and then
He's
like. Yeah, then he just walks down. He just runs down a building, and then this one stormtrooper just casually like loads his RPG at him, and it doesn't even affect him.
It does nothing. He just fucking
and then
swats it aside.
And then he does like this like little mode. Try and find the gif of him doing like the little mode when like even like this Athorian guy like does like this sound wave effect on him. And then he's still chasing after them, and like, okay, and then like Shati has to protect that. What? What?
FedEx.
What?
I don't know, but I was looking through GIFs and I accidentally pressed a button.
I'm not gonna get mad at you for that, but oh, and also I do need to mention this. Mace Windu like just grabs like a flying droid and just pilots that flying droid after like ripping his brains out, basically, flying through Coruscant, and then Yoda like just like he uses the Force to just like collide a bunch of ships together. Yeah, this is what he does. Like he is
goes-
prepared for everything.
He's like so hard
Bro
to fight
wasn't even
against.
sweating.
Yeah, and then okay, yeah, you see Yoda like grab like I think 2 or 3 ships and then just collides them together. Just shows how like you can see he's basically the master of Jedi masters. And then like Shati like gets the so like these Shati has to like defend against like these like other droids that apparently if you cut off their head they don't die. And then it turns out that Palpatine and these 2 Jedi are in the same place as General Grievous at the moment, and he actually does struggle a bit, but then he pulls out his trump card, 4 arms, baby, and then grabs like 2. And it's so good.
It's
Truly the MVP, the GOAT.
So,
The
are
series
we about ready to
I
move
think
on to the-
I'm done.
Yeah,
Yeah, because it's been
It's been an hour.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
But
I'm sorry. Like I had to spurg about the 2003 show.
So
It's my
the final
mental
movie,
illness and I get to choose the coping mechanism.
yeah. The final movie, the finale to the trilogy that explains it, basically ties up all the loose ends and connects all this shit back to the original trilogy. It explains how Anakin became Darth Vader, and his descent into madness. That's essentially the main focus of the third movie. And it's the best one. It looks the best. I mean, the one thing I didn't complain about, which has been an issue through all 3 of these movies, is I haven't mentioned the editing, which I think
the bad
is not,
acting.
The acting is mid, but like the editing really bugs the shit out of me. It is
Those
so
Windows Video Maker transitions.
Those don't
Yeah.
really bother me all that much because that's
They
just
just-
kind of like Star Wars vibes.
they just
They don't bother me.
fit.
I just think they're funny.
But yeah, I mean, the third movie I think has some of the best visuals. They're very, very, very fun. And yeah, I mean, what's the plot of the third movie? What's the general premise?
Anything
Okay,
goes game mode.
so the Battle of Coruscant this literally takes place after the 2003 show, actually. So after the Battle of Coruscant, like Palpatine has been captured, and okay, so and they're trying to get him back, but you see here they're on General Grievous's ship, and they did my boy dirty. Oh wait, we didn't mention this in the 2003 show. So the reason why Grievous is weaker in like everything that you've seen ever is just because Mace Windu crushed his he crushed his torso. He just basically crushed his chest with the
Oh yeah, I
Force.
forgot about that. He fucked him up, so that's why he's a little bitch in the third movie.
Yeah, but like the problem is that he also just acts different. Yeah. But like he just becomes more of a cartoon villain where he barely talks at all.
And he's always wheezing like Walter White.
Yeah. Yeah,
he
and
had that
he-
one moment when he said General Kenobi, and that was his best moment.
that was the one good dialogue Grievous had in this movie. We were done dirty. We were done dirty.
Yeah, and in the third movie, he's just a complete waste of potential.
Yeah, he's just basically the Saturday morning cartoon villain at that point.
So basically, I mean, the main plot is that Anakin seems to believe that he needs Palpatine, but I think people in the Senate are starting to question if Palpatine really has their best interests in mind.
The Jedi Council, because remember, Gabe, he is the Senate.
Oh yeah, I was trying to set you up for that. And so it's basically everyone versus Palpatine and Anakin is essentially the plot of the third movie.
Yeah.
And you can sort of see how Palpatine exploits like Anakin's like his weaknesses and his flaws.
Yeah,
Because he
like
knows
you see here,
that Anakin like wants to protect the people precious to him, and that's his way of manipulating him. That's what he promises Anakin, is the power to do so.
Yeah. You'll see this scene, and it is a meme, but it is a very good scene. Like, he explains what, he doesn't, like, necessarily say it, but, like, Darth Plagueis was Palpatine's master at one point, and he basically told the story on how Darth Plagueis was able to bring people back to life, the ones that he cared about. And Anakin gets very intrigued because, like, he's getting these visions of Padme dying while she's pregnant, too, by the way.
Yeah, he keeps having dreams about it.
Yeah, and like he's just very curious because it leans him more to Palpatine, and he's like, "Ooh, is there a way to learn this by any chance?" And he's like, "Not through a Jedi." And he's like trying to lead more towards the Sith subtly.
Basically grooming him into becoming a Sith Lord.
No. Yeah. It's my lead. No, I'm not making that joke.
But Palpatine, so there's so many fucking good scenes in this movie. There's like a part where Palpatine, like where is it Mace Windu is about to kill Palpatine, and then Anakin's like, "No, I need him," and he's just like, "He's fucking evil. He's
evil, dude. Look at him.
he shoots lightning out of his fingertips." And Anakin betrays Mace Windu, stops him from killing Palpatine. Palpatine throws him out the fucking window. And you can tell that Anakin is just... He's falling for everything Palpatine's telling him. Because, like, part of it, too, is, like, Palpatine's telling him he can bring Padme back when she dies. But, you know, if he really knew that secret, he wouldn't be so old and wrinkly.
Yeah, exactly.
And he also, like, Mace Windu wouldn't be a threat to him because he would be immortal.
Oh, wait, we should probably bring this up. So the Jedi Council is still not trusting Anakin all that much. They're not giving him the respect he thinks he deserves because they don't give him the rank of master, even though he's on the council. Okay, and yeah, take a seat, young Skywalker line is the most Samuel L. Jackson quote ever.
I half expected him to say, "Take a seat, motherfucker."
Okay, I understand you guys wanted him to swear, but look, to be fair, it would have been funny, but I don't think swearing fits in the Star Wars universe.
I know, but it's Samuel L. Jackson, man.
I know.
Missed
so
opportunities.
Yeah. Yeah, we got, and like they still don't trust him. Like, I mean, well, not trust. They just don't see him as like, he's hot shit or anything. Oh yeah, and Padme is pregnant with twins also, so he's very worried about that. And we probably gotta explain what Obi-Wan's doing. He's trying to find General Grievous and like take him down because the war is almost over.
And he does. He cooks him in a very, very cool way in that movie. We can see
literally.
Like, he literally does cook him. Like he fries his insides, or what's left of them, since they already got crushed.
Yeah, like, look, see?
So, while he's busy with that, Anakin's basically falling apart. There's like a fucking great scene where Palpatine fights Yoda, and I think he's like picking up pieces of it's like in the what's that room? That big massive room.
The Senate room.
The Senate room.
He's
like
picking up seats at each other.
And Duel of Fates is playing. And
he's picking them up. He's like, they're using the Force to throw him around, and Palpatine is like laughing maniacally, and he's just having the fucking time of his life. And
another legendary Palpatine moment, bro. He's just full of joyous
McDermott
whimsy.
is just having way too much fun.
He's enjoying this like a little too much. Like it's a villain. It's easily the best villain.
Okay, so I guess we gotta talk about Anakin now. So Anakin just burns down the entire Jedi Temple.
Yeah, Anakin.
And he kills Like,
So
he
in
really
order-
did not need to do this. He kills a bunch of children for no reason.
In order to enact Palpatine's plan, he basically kills all the Jedi. And me and Pasta Man imagined a scenario where it's like Palpatine's like, "Did you do it?" He's like, "Yes, I killed all the Jedi." He's like, "Wait, all of them?" He's like, "Yeah, all of them."
You mean the kids?
You mean the ones that we could have made Sith Lords?
It's so funny to think about. Like, he didn't need to do all that.
He really didn't.
Like, that was kind of Also, I just feel like this is another thing that I don't. I can understand like Anakin's resentment to the Jedi Order, but like, then he just starts talking about like politics and all that, and like, you literally said in like Attack of the Clones that you didn't. Like, there were instances of him, like, not trusting the system, but, like, they weren't expanded upon that much. Like, and then you just, like, talk about all these, like, politics stuff. Like, you didn't really seem to care about those in the first two movies.
I feel like if we're being generous, I think... I feel like if we're being generous, like, one of the key, like, forces behind, like real world fascism is the belief that democratic institutions, they aren't efficient, they aren't decisive, they don't exude strength, and you can kind of get that frustration like out of Anakin when he's talking about, "I don't think the system works, that they should be made to agree."
Yeah,
So that's my defense. I mean, it's not that deep, but like.
okay.
Does
I
at
think
least
we
make
should have seen a little bit more of it, you know?
Yeah, you got me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We gotta talk about Order 66. So Palpatine, like, when the clones were being made, like he just has full control over the clones, and he goes like, and he uses this excuse that the Mace Windu attacked him as an excuse that, oh, the Jedi are taking over, they're evil, and then he uses Order 66 to basically kill all the Jedi. And it's a pretty sad scene, honestly. Like, it's dark.
You
Like,
can
awful.
basically see just how far gone both Palpatine and Anakin are. It is a development compared to the first movie.
That is kind of the fun part of this movie, is watching it all fall apart.
Yeah, and like in such little time too.
So
Yeah, Palpatine just was goated like that.
So are we ready to talk about the last fight?
Is there any, I think we should talk about like Obi-Wan's feelings, maybe.
I mean, that's
Like-
relevant to
yeah.
the last fight.
Oh yeah, but let's do it. So Obi-Wan finds out that this man that he's basically like treated like his brother, like he's basically his little apprentice that he's tried his best to make like the best Jedi he could, is going gamer. He's going gamer.
He's losing his fucking marbles, and
And like
Go-
he loses it at like the killing the younglings part. Like, Anakin killed some younglings? Really? You didn't need to do that.
he didn't need to do all that.
Yeah, it
and
is kind of sad
also
from his
Anakin.
perspective.
Why did Anakin choke Padme again?
I think it's okay. So why he did is because like he thinks that Obi-Wan turned Padme against him because like Padme is horrified at what Anakin has become. Like the one that she loved is now this monster.
Yeah, and so he begins to think that she's
God damn.
he's doing this like with me or against me thing.
Yeah. He's-
Crush my
why-
rock.
why
crush
would he
crush
support-
my cock with a rock. I must.
Oh, I also forgot to mention
Maximum
this
pain.
entire.
I must endure.
Okay.
I almost forgot to
Here we
mention
go.
that the cringiest part is how in all of these scenes, Anakin's like rocking the hood on his face like this.
Crawling
maximum
in
edge.
my skin.
What I've done.
Oh, there are totally AMVs of Linkin Park and Anakin Skywalker.
I just feel like the gamer moment really should have been done a lot better, but I still do love this movie. Oh man. Oh wait, this is unrelated, but I did make like, you know, like Gabe, do you know about the DMC3 theme, like the first Virgil theme that you?
Yeah,
I made an edit of that, but with like the conversation between Anakin and Obi-Wan, it was so good, and I don't have it anymore. So Obi-Wan confronts Anakin. He's like, "You turned my wife against me, my brother in Christ. You were literally
Kill
having a
those kids."
meltdown."
Yeah.
Only a Sith deals in absolutes.
Yeah, and it's basically it's basically just these two basically brothers fighting each other. And like I feel like no. And like you can kind of see that Obi-Wan is kind of failed Anakin in a way. Okay, so you see here Obi-Wan basically like he feels like he failed Anakin, and so like now they're fighting. Stop! I cannot focus with these.
It's like, please, I cannot deal with both of these things at the same time.
Please delete this one. This is actually like distracting me.
I fucking love the. Well, just side tangent. I fucking love the context of that GIF because it's like Darth Vader going like, "Yo, like you should like totally come over and chill, man." Like.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
And so basically, the fight's great. They're fighting on lava.
Yeah.
Okay, we gotta like wrap this up soon.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a pretty sick fight scene.
Yeah, they're
It
fighting.
is a very good
using-
fight scene. It's very good.
They're using the environment around them, and like there's also lava everywhere. And then Anakin,
flying on little platforms.
yeah, and Obi-Wan feels like he failed Anakin, and Anakin is just not listening. He's like, "Oh, the Jedi are evil," and like he gets
From
on.
my
he
point
gets
of view,
on-
the Jedi are evil.
He gets on the high ground, and then he's like, "It's over, Anakin. And then Anakin overestimates himself, and he gets his legs and arms cut off. And then there is like, honestly, it is a pretty emotional
And
scene.
then his entire body gets torched.
Bro, that did not need to happen to him.
That was so messed up. Like,
This movie
and
is
then
rated
how he became
PG-13.
Darth Vader. That's a banger.
All right. Okay. So what next?
So basically, that's what leads to Anakin. Since he's not dead, it explains why he had a burned face in the original trilogy, and he gets put in a suit with a fucking respirator and
And
becomes.
he is constantly in pain all the time.
He becomes Darth Vader. Padme gives birth to two little babies named Leia and Luke.
But she dies because she literally gave up the will to live.
Yeah, she just dies
we're
of a
not-
fucking broken heart, and then
And we're not going to talk about Leia and Luke. We're not. We're not going to unpack that.
Yeah, like
we're
Luke
gonna
gets
talk about
sent to-
that some other video.
we're
2
not
years
gonna
from
talk that
now.
20 years from now.
when we're
So
fucking boomers.
that's pretty much the end of Star Wars.
Oh wait, we do see Anakin. He is very worried about. We hear James Earl Jones again.
Yeah, he just goes, no.
Where is Padme? Is she safe? Is
No, she
she
fucking- nah.
alright?
Oh my fucking gosh, she fucking dead. No.
Yeah.
And that's basically the end.
Oh yeah, and you see the Death Star being in construction. Whatever.
You're not like a big deal or anything like that. It doesn't matter. Death Star, who cares? Doesn't.
Yeah.
We're running out of time.
Something inside.
We're just ending it here.
Yeah, so what just overall rate, what did y'all think of the prequels altogether, counting the Clone Wars series? Or I guess actually we should probably let's rate the two of them separately.
Yeah.
So let's start with the prequels. What did y'all think of the prequels? What'd you
Okay, so since this is a me thing, I do still like the Phantom Menace, but I will watch it. I do still stand by the fact that it is the most overhated movie ever, but it is just like a CGI show. Attack of the Clones, a little boring. I still do like them. I still do like it, but it is kind of a slog to kind of get through, and there are creepy parts. Revenge of the Sith, genuinely a great movie. Like, it is genuinely a good movie.
Yeah, I
I'll,
agree.
I'll second that. The third movie definitely is like pretty good. The rest is just like eh. I feel like I would understand the anger more if I actually watched other Star Wars movies.
Yeah, I feel like the first two are kind of needless.
I feel like they just didn't justify their existence enough. That's really the main problem. It's all about spectacle rather than writing.
Even for me, like a good part of like the investment, just it comes from like knowing the Empire and Darth Vader, and like the fact that you know like who they are, and like you're learning what led to the circumstances of the actual Star Wars, the main series, you know. I feel like it really gets carried by that to an extent.
My overall take is like I fucking do not like the first one. The second one I think is better, but it's a little hard to kind of stay invested in. But we actually had a hard time talking about the second one. We kept jumping all over the place. And the third one is the best one. It's the most endearing. It's the most entertaining. It's got the best visuals. It's the best story. So I mean, overall for all three movies, I kind of have it just at a 6 for all three together.
Yeah, I'm going with just a 7. I will still watch these movies religiously.
But you got the third at like a 10, right?
No, I think the third is like an 8 or a 9 at most.
Fair enough.
Well, maybe 8.5. I think that's fair. Because like I still have issues with how Anakin became Darth Vader, but
yeah. And for you, Pasta Man, what's your overall rating for all three?
I will give it a 6.
Yeah, that's fair.
And then for the animated series by Genndy Tartakovsky, that one I've got probably at a 7. It's definitely not Gendy's best, but it is very solid. Actually, more probably like a 7.5.
For me, 9. It is a 9.
It is pretty gas.
I will give it a 7.
I would give it a 7.
Wow, you two fucking.
I give it a 9. Out of 10.
I'm giving it a 9 just because like I can look past certain stuff and like just kind of enjoy the spectacle of it. I mean, I guess I'm a bit hypocritical but like you see, the Phantom Menace is plot focused, while this one really isn't all that much. It's just kind of war stories.
Yeah. Well, I mean, honestly, I would not mind just a string of war stories, and if it were much longer.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's very, very good. And yeah, I think that kind of does it for Star Wars. We're gonna have to heavily edit this one, but I did have fun recording this one. This was a fun one. So
it was like 15 9/11s.
Any closing thoughts?
No, I think I'm done.
All right.
What the fuck?